Good Tuesday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take a quick look outside our weather window. And today we head up north to Okanagan County. You can just see at the bottom left part of your screen from our Sky-Fi tower camera, we call it Billy Goat, that's Pateros down there at the bottom of the screen right along the river. And just a little bit farther up the road, it's Brewster in the middle of your screen. Not a whole lot of snow up there, is there? Not like you would expect for this time of year, but it was a chilly one up that way today, and it's even going to get chillier as we make our way through this week. Tomorrow, just a slight cool down and then a big cool down as we get into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We're talking afternoon high temperatures, upper teens and lower 20s with overnight lows in the single digits to around 10 degrees. And some areas in our viewing area will see wind chills between 10 and 20 degrees below zero. I'll have your complete weather forecast coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. The man accused of abducting his former girlfriend in a terrifying car ride from Wenatchee to Ellensburg and back has been formally charged with kidnapping. A Waterville man has been sentenced to 9 months in jail for domestic assault with a knife. And the case of a Kashmir woman who admitted killing her elderly mother may be reaching its conclusion. But first, we begin tonight. The Grant County Health District on Monday announced the deaths of 4 more county residents from COVID-19. The deaths bring the county's total to 109 since the pandemic began. The deaths announced Monday were a Cooley City man in his 70s, a Moses Lake man in his 70s, a Quincy man in his 70s, and another Moses Lake man in his 80s. The health district said all 4 men did have underlying health conditions that put them at higher risk. Well, the man accused of abducting his former girlfriend in a terrifying car ride from Wenatchee to Ellensburg and back has now been formally charged with kidnapping. 19-year-old Trey Michael Haberlock is also charged with robbery, assault, and felony harassment for allegedly holding the woman captive, beating and threatening her at knife point, and stealing her phone during the ordeal back on January 20th. Haberlock was arraigned Monday in Chelan County Superior Court. He remains jailed on $500,000 bond. Meanwhile, a 20-year-old Waterville man who assaulted members of his family with a knife last summer must serve a 9-month jail term plus probation. Juan Manuel Rodriguez Garcia was sentenced Monday in Douglas County Superior Court. He pleaded guilty to counts of 3rd and 4th degree domestic violence. On June 18th, sheriff's deputies say Rodriguez attacked relatives using both a knife and a club while under the influence of methamphetamine. Judge Brian Huber also ordered the defendant to undergo substance abuse counseling. The case of a Kashmir woman who admitted killing her elderly mother may be reaching its conclusion. Lawyers say 71-year-old Anita Burgess Jones is likely to enter a plea agreement next week in the January 2020 murder of her mother. Chelan County Sheriff's deputies found 96-year-old Catherine Burgess Wickse dead in the Kashmir home she shared with her daughter. They say Jones called police and admitted to strangling her mother, stabbing her, and then bludgeoning her to death. Jones underwent psychiatric assessment and was found competent to stand trial. The case had been scheduled to go to a jury later this month. Coming up next, we reported yesterday on phony N95 masks supplied to Washington hospitals. Well, it turns out every hospital in the Wenatchee Valley received at least 1 shipment of those masks. Last month, Chelan County Commissioners passed a seasonal resolution that allows for temporary weight restrictions on county roads. And according to a recent study, East Wenatchee is the 13th safest mid-sized city and Brewster the 7th safest small city in the state. We'll tell you more about that. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
I have a hereditary bone disease from the female side of my family. My bone loss was so significant that you could almost see the roots. I became embarrassed and I started covering my mouth. Eating became very difficult as far as I stopped eating apples, corn on the cob, things that you just eat as it is without utensils. Dr. Divis was my dentist prior to having implants. We talked about traditional dentures or implants, and implants was the only way really that I could go. John Divis and all of his office staff, they checked on me throughout all the processes. I would never go anyplace else. Today, I can eat corn on the cob, I can have apples. Thanks to Dr. John Divis and his staff, I have my smile back. I feel more confident. I am me again.
This is John Divis. Let our team help you solve your dental needs.
Welcome back. In another news, we reported yesterday on phony N95 masks supplied to Washington hospitals. It turns out every hospital in the Wenatchee Valley received at least one shipment of the counterfeit masks, and some of them were used by medical providers while they treated patients. N95 masks have been key to preventing COVID-19 infections among frontline health workers during the pandemic. Confluence Health in Wenatchee, Lake Chelan Health, and Cascade Medical Center in Leavenworth all tell NCWLIFE they discovered the phony masks in their inventory after the Washington State Hospital Association raised an alarm over the weekend. Many of the masks were provided to hospitals through the WSHA. Confluence says it disposed of a few hundred phony masks this week. Cascade had more than 1,000 of the counterfeits in its inventory. No new cases of COVID-19 among hospital workers have been attributed to the fraud. Well, last month, Chelan County Commissioners passed a seasonal resolution that allows for temporary weight restrictions on county roads. The resolution is passed annually in preparation for the heavy snow melt. No seasonal weight restrictions are in place at this time, however. County roads are being monitored. Seasonal snowmelt and runoff can soften roadways, potentially leading to costly damages. Only emergency vehicles, school buses, or vehicles possessing a special permit issued by the county engineer are exempt. Also, a portion of Birch Mountain Road will be closed on Tuesday, February 16th to the public. The annual road closure is to protect the roadway from damages that may occur with seasonal freezing and thawing conditions there as well. East Wenatchee is the 13th safest mid-sized city and Brewster the 7th safest small-sized city in the state. That according to a study done by the website Advisor Smith. The site says they used FBI crime data with 180 cities in Washington to come up with its rankings. Wenatchee did not make the top 20 of safest mid-sized cities in those rankings. Sammamish was ranked as the safest large city, Camas as the safest mid-sized city, and Colville as the safest small city. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's feature story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
You love to help others. You need a solid career. You can have it all with help from Charter College. Our 10-month medical assistant program prepares you to work in healthcare settings like physician offices, rehab centers, and clinics. You'll learn to take patient vitals, assist with exams, administer injections, and maintain medical records. When you're ready to launch a rewarding healthcare career, visit chartercollege.edu, because we work to get you to work.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
I'm Dr. Wayne Latimer. I'm a chiropractic physician. I have postgraduate certifications in both whiplash, trauma, and rehab, as well as sports medicine. The location is great. The light and the visibility, the 17-foot ceilings are fantastic. You can go into a lot of clinics, and it's very clinical. People really like the spa environment, so my whole premise was take a spa environment, add the very serious rehab, and give people an enjoyable way to get better over time.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. The Washington State Patrol is mourning the death of one of its troopers who was killed Monday in an avalanche in the Cascades. The State Patrol confirmed that 51-year-old trooper Steve Hoole of Cle Elum died in the French Cabin Creek area of Kittitas County. The Kittitas County Sheriff's Office said Hoole was riding snow bikes with a friend at about 12:40 p.m. when they were buried by that avalanche. The friend was able to dig himself out and make his way to the snow park to call for help. Kittitas County Search and Rescue and the Kittitas County Sheriff's Office spent hours searching for Hoole before finding his body at about 7 p.m. Hoole was a 28-year veteran of the State Patrol. In tonight's feature story, State Patrol Trooper John Bryant knew Hoole well and tells us more.
I personally knew Steve for roughly 10 years, mostly because of living and working in Kittitas County, which is basically Steve's area, Steve's backyard, especially what we call Upper County, Cle Elum, Easton, that area. That he was just one of those outdoorsman types that those of us who don't get to go outdoors as much live vicariously through Steve, whether it be, hunting, fishing, motorcycles, snowmobiling, and he has just a little bike. I guess there's a new thing where you can go set up a motorcycle to make it like a snow bike. And when you hear those stories, you're just kind of live through him. And unfortunately, you learn all that when we have our coffee breaks, which we haven't had in a long time because of COVID. But you learn a lot about people and their life and their family. And Steve, just an open, honest guy who a lot of people knew. And no one ever said anything bad about Steve because he's always helping people out, or you had an idea, a suggestion, he'd know where to go, especially with the Upper County or even down here, or places he'd gone to and fished and just knew the area real well, and people knew him and liked him and trust him. You have a lot of troopers that kind of go, come through Ellensburg and maybe they retire or they move on, but they all kind of knew and met Steve. He's just a guy you'd see a coffee break or anywhere, and someone you could trust, big smile on his face, and all the people that I've talked to kind of today and last night, just a helpful guy. And as far as a trooper, his knowledge was pretty much unsurpassed, especially in this area, and a lot of his friends and really close friends and family are obviously having a tough time today. I know it was tough last night. We did after once they recovered him, we did a procession from the area through Cle Elum down to the funeral home in Ellensburg, and a lot of lights on the roadway driving I-90, and so it was just, pretty emotional moment, but well-respected, well-liked guy, and gonna be missed by a lot of people. Just to not have him around, it just seems odd to me. and it will to a lot of people. And
all right, switching gears now, let's take a look at your north central Washington weather forecast and a beautiful shot this afternoon from our friends up north in Okanagan County. This is our Billy Goat Sky-Fi Tower camera provided by Localtel. Right here, Pateros, and right here, the town of Brewster, who we mentioned, the 7th safest small city in Washington, right there on the Columbia River. And I mentioned at the top of the newscast, boy, where's all the snow? Here we are, February 9th, and just a dusting of snow up in Okanagan County. As far as high temperatures go today, we're continuing our downward slide. 32 yesterday, 30 today unofficially, and it's been a cold one. 10 degrees below where we should be for this time of year. 22 was our overnight low temperature today, and 27 is where we should be. Record high for this date, it was set in 1998 at 55 degrees. Record low 8 in 1985. Sunrise this morning 7:15, and the sunset this afternoon is at 5:16. Let's take a look now at what we can expect as we get into your hump day Wednesday. And again, a slow cool down as we move into our Wednesday forecast. Temperatures a lot like today for most of us. Columbia Basin, lower to mid 30s, 34 Moses Lake, 32 in Quincy. I think it'll be another 30-degree day in the Wenatchee area tomorrow. Some upper 20s in Leavenworth and Cashmere. Chelan 28, and cooler up north where that cold air's funneling in. Omak, your high tomorrow, 26. Tonight we can expect partly to mostly cloudy skies as we get into our surface loop. Cold temperatures as well. We're talking overnight lows tonight into the teens. Here we are right here in Wenatchee, and all of that cold air sliding down, and it's actually coming down. I'll show you that in a second from the east-northeast where all this cold air in Montana is trapped. And for Wednesday, we just talked about that. Mostly cloudy skies, a north wind tomorrow. It will be just slightly cooler too. You can see the airflow coming down here, and then that northeasterly airflow as well, and that means some cooler temperatures tomorrow, upper 20s as we mentioned for a lot of us as we get into Wednesday. For Thursday then, an area of low pressure just off the Oregon coast will spin some moisture up into the north central Washington, and colder temperatures too. In fact, the bottom's going to drop out for our temperatures on Thursday with highs only in the low 20s. Friday, partly cloudy, unseasonably cold once again. Snow showers to our south. Will it come up just far enough north till we see something? I don't really think so for a Friday. It's just going to stay unseasonably cold. And then as we get into the upcoming weekend, not a whole lot of change. Our area of low pressure slides up the coast a little bit, bringing us a chance for isolated flurries, but temperatures will still be well below normal as we move into the upcoming weekend. Great Falls, Montana, 12 below for the afternoon high temperature. On Sunday, partly cloudy. Things will begin to recover slowly as we get into the end of the weekend. We're talking slightly warmer temperatures around 30 degrees, a lot like our weather today. And then for President's Day on Monday, hope a lot of you have that off, but it's going to be kind of a wintry day. Mostly cloudy, isolated flurries, as you can see, almost across the board, and slightly warmer. You can almost see some upper 30s and 40s now creeping back into our picture as our airflow comes back to the southwest, and that's good news for warmer temperatures. Let's take a look now at your 7-day forecast tonight. A cold one, 17 degrees overnight, 30 your high temperature tomorrow, 16 the overnight low. And then Thursday, a good chance that we'll see some snow off and on. It will be cooler, let's just say colder. 24 our high, 10 degrees the overnight low. And we're going to stay like that right through Friday and Saturday before a bit of a warm up. Sunday, mostly sunny and 30 degrees, while Monday, partly cloudy, maybe a flurry or two. High temperature at the freezing mark. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
2021 models are arriving at Sangster Motors. General Motors is on the move with the all-new 2021 Yukon. Yukon is redesigned from the ground up with a bold new look and all the latest technology. Also new is the Canyon AT4 pickup. This off-road equipped mid-size truck will challenge any rival for performance and value. Both of these models will offer Duramax diesel options for maximum power and economy. The American Challenge is game on at Sangster Motors now.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Tuesday to you. It's been nearly a year since Gonzaga last lost a basketball game. February 22nd, 2020 was the date. The Bulldogs, ranked second in the country at the time, were upset on the road by BYU 91-78. That memory was still fresh in the minds of several players last night as the now number one ranked team in the country headed for Provo. Gonzaga got the lead early last night and never looked back as the Bulldogs topped the Cougars 82-71. Jalen Suggs shook off a first half foul trouble to lead the way with 24 points. Drew Timme had 20 points and 13 rebounds for his third double-double of the season. Andrew Nebhard had 15 points, while Corey Kispert 13, as the Bulldogs improved to 19-0 on the season, 10-0 in West Coast Conference play. Top-ranked Zags are down to 6 conference games left, provided postponement games against Santa Clara and Loyola Marymount are rescheduled. Now, speaking of, Gonzaga had to have its game with Santa Clara called for a third time. The two were supposed to meet this Thursday, but the Broncos still dealing with COVID-19 issues. So up next, the Bulldogs will head on the road to San Francisco coming up this Saturday. Well, Gonzaga remained atop both the Associated Press and coaches poll on Monday. The Bulldogs received 55 first-place votes in the AP poll and remain right where they've been since the preseason. Baylor got 8 first-place votes and are ranked second. Michigan, Ohio State, and Villanova finish out the top 5. Haley Van Lith's Louisville Cardinals dropped to number 3 in this week's Associated Press women's poll. South Carolina jumped to number 1, receiving 29 of 30 first-place votes. UConn is second, while NC State, who handed Louisville its only loss of the season last week, is number 4. Stanford's ranked 5th in the country, while Oregon is up to 11, and Gonzaga now ranked 17th. Well, Washington State starting quarterback last season has been suspended by the team after being arrested in the Pullman area last weekend on a DUI charge. Jaden DeLora, who started all 4 of WSU's games this season, was pulled over at 2:13 Saturday morning after driving through a stop sign and traveling the wrong way on a one-way street. According to an article in today's Spokesman Review, DeLora failed a field sobriety test but refused to take a breathalyzer. A team official confirmed DeLora's suspension from the team after the news was first reported by SWX. DeLora was expected to be in a quarterback competition this spring with redshirt sophomore Cameron Cooper and Tennessee graduate transfer Jarrett Guarantano. Well, this is a big week to determine the future of high school sports in our region. Friday marks the end of the current 2-week data collection to determine if North Central Washington and the state's roadmap to recovery moves from Phase 1 to Phase 2. Practice for sports is expected to start next week, regardless of phasing, but according to Wenatchee Athletic Director Jim Beeson, most competitions won't be allowed until, while they're still in Phase 1. Competitive dance and cheer, cross-country, and girls swim and dive are the only sports that would be allowed to compete in Phase 1 because of their low-risk status. Phase 2 is necessary for football, volleyball, and girls soccer to move towards competitions. If the North Central region doesn't move into Phase 2 this week, the next round of data collection won't be inputted until the end of the month. That's about the same time those games that are higher risk sports are scheduled to start. We're just 8 days away from practice for pitchers and catchers. Actually, they'll be reporting to spring training camp in Peoria, Arizona for the Seattle Mariners. Monday was a packing day. now that's some scintillating video right there. Pitchers and catchers will have their first workout February 18th. Position players are to report February 22nd. First Cactus League game in the schedule is against San Diego on February 27th. Let's take a look at what happened in the NHL on Monday. Semyon Varlamov made 30 saves as the Islanders blanked the Rangers 2-0 and gave Barry Trotz his 850th coaching win, moving him to third all-time. Jack Roslovic's goal with less than 5 minutes to go gave Columbus a 3-2 win over Carolina. Edmonton skated into Ottawa and handed the Senators a 3-1 defeat. Toronto defended the home ice with a 3-1 win over Vancouver. Anthony Cirelli lit the lamp twice in Tampa Bay's 4-1 win over Nashville, and Arizona and St. Louis went into a shootout to determine the winner as the Coyotes edged the Blues 4-3. On the schedule today, Flyers skate at the Nationals. The Panthers host the Red Wings. Oilers remain in Ottawa. The Predators host the Lightning. Chicago visits Dallas. The Golden Knights welcome the Ducks. Sharks travel to L.A., and the Flames are hosting the Jets. That's a look at sports news. I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life channel. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Eric. And finally tonight, a community-wide effort has been launched to show support for healthcare workers in North Central Washington. The Blue Ribbon campaign encourages residents to tie a blue ribbon around a tree or pole at their home or put a blue ribbon card in the window of their home or business. The effort was launched by Chambers of Commerce and Public Information officers in Chelan and Douglas counties to show support for healthcare workers during the COVID-19 pandemic. The blue represents the color of scrubs. Blue ribbon cards can be downloaded at the Chelan County website at co.chelan.wa.gov. Now let's check in with Dan Kuntz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Join me tomorrow, Wednesday, for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Webster's defines Wednesday as the day of the week before Thursday following Tuesday. So you got that going for you. We'll have news, we'll have a very chilly weather forecast, sports, the obscure holiday, today in history, celebrity birthdays, and everybody is entitled to an opinion from my Bignati, whether you like it or not. We'll see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. live and local for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Grant, back to you.
Thank you very much, Dan. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Is search engine optimization right for my business? Maybe. Studies show the first and second search results get 50% of all the clicks. But you have to fight national chains to get there. If the user has to scroll down to find you, tough luck. You could hide a dead body on page 2 and the whole zombie apocalypse on page 3. Or you could spend less and get an ad in the Impact Big Print phone book, giving local businesses a chance to shine.
Impact Directories. Bigger print, better book.